patrons, I am here to give you this month's review. You voted that I read This Modern Love by Will Derbyshire, and I'm really excited that you picked this one because I started reading it and flew through it. I read it in a few hours, just like read a section, had lunch, read another section, and it was really enjoyable. So the main thing I want to there's two parts to what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the actual book, and I want to talk about YouTube books. So I'm going to put this down while I talk about YouTube books more in general, and I'm going to make sure my computer's on mute so we don't get interrupted. So when YouTube books started coming out, I was quite hesitant about them. And it was because they were all memoirs. They were all like my life as a YouTuber, where I've started and where I've gone. And the truth is, I don't want to like say that anyone's life hasn't been a struggle, or that they haven't overcome things, or that they don't have interesting insights. Everybody has interesting insights, but the idea of just a bunch of 20-somethings that got lucky and got some YouTube fame, although I know personally a lot of work goes into it, but there's also a lot of luck involved, that all of these people just started writing memoirs, that it kind of irked me, and I didn't hate it, I just didn't think about it. I was just kind of like, yeah, okay, that's fine. And I actually made a video a while ago, and I'll link all these things down below, but I made a video about the giant uproar that happened around Zoella's book. Like, we all found out that it was ghostwritten. And I've not read Zoella's book, and I didn't talk about her book specifically, I just talked about the idea of ghostwriting. And I really loved all of the discussion that happened when all of these YouTubers suddenly started getting book deals, because it was fascinating to see booktubers talk about it as people who are really invested in books, but people who are also really invested in YouTube. So I think we have like an interesting point of view on the stance of YouTubers writing books. And I also made another video on Rosianna's channel, Rosie of Rosianna. You know, Rosianna. I'll link her down below if you don't know what I'm talking about. I'll link that video. But we kind of had a discussion about how we felt about YouTubers writing books, and we kind of had a similar idea that it's actually great for the publishing industry, because all of these people buying books puts more money into the publishing industry, which allows for smaller, less commercially successful books to be published. It's kind of a system that's been running for a long time. That's why we have celebrity books. Well, it's not the only reason we have celebrity books, but it's like part of the reason that celebrity books are actually kind of great for the publishing industry, because they give money to authors that maybe their books aren't going to sell to that many people. But if we have the money to publish this interesting piece of work, well then we'll do it. But if we don't have money, we can't. So it's a very interesting set of circumstances. But this was a while ago now. This was over a year ago that I filmed the Rosianna video, and like 2 years ago that I filmed the ghostwriting video, and things are starting to change, which I think is really exciting. And I should have foreseen that this would be the case, that there's always gonna be kind of that mainstream thing that sells really well and is really about like the personality and about their lives, as opposed to things that are about art. So I want to just grab something. You know me in these Patreon videos, I never have the props I mean to have. These are two books that I've recently read by YouTubers, and they have been phenomenal. Graffiti and Other Poems by Savannah Brown is a collection of poetry. Savannah's a fantastic poet. She's been doing poetry for years and years and years. And it's illustrated by Ed Stock, and we have beautiful illustrations in here. And then This Modern Love, a collection of poetry, a collection of letters about love. And it was fascinating because while reading this, Will Derbyshire did a great job curating this project, but this book isn't about Will Derbyshire. This book is about a creative project he had in mind. So I'm really excited about this kind of second wave of YouTube books. I think they're always going to be the minority, and I think the kind of bigger selling memoirish type thing are always going to be the main type of YouTube book. But it's really cool now, this second wave, to see these kind of artier books out there. I think it's really exciting, and I'm really interested in seeing, because the thing is, we act like YouTubers are a thing, but YouTubers are just people, you know, they're just people that have lots of interests, and Savannah is a poet who also happens to do YouTube, and Will is an artist who happens to do YouTube. They're gonna want to approach books in different ways. So anyway, I'm excited. But that little discussion, I'm interested in hearing your thoughts, but that will lead me to my thoughts on This Modern Love. I thought this was really good. So I was a bit hesitant just because I don't really like reading letters very much. I know, this is a very specific thing. I'm not a huge fan of letters. What is it? Epistolary? I think that's what it's called. Writing forms. They just they seem a bit uncomfortable to me. It feels like something I'm not supposed to read, like they're somebody else's thing. This letter was not meant for me to read. But I ended up really enjoying this because they weren't super long letters. There's a few that are a few pages long, but it's like 3 or 4. The rest of them are really short, and some of them are a line. So I actually really enjoyed getting these snapshots from people, these little odes to love. The book is set up in 3 different sections. Part 1 is the beginning, so it's about, I'm gonna put this down, it's about like crushes. Actually, let's put it like back here so it's still like in the shot. You still know that that's what I'm talking about. Oh, my arm covered it. Right here? No, right over here. Right there. Yep. Perfect. Part 1 is about crushes, it's about falling in love with someone. Part 2 is about being in a relationship, and then part 3 is about the breakups. And I really liked Will Derbyshire's input. He had a little, like, introduction to each section, and he had a letter at the beginning and a little bit at the end. And I really liked it. I actually would have liked more from Will Derbyshire. His insights were really interesting. I think that this was a really cool project, and I would have loved more from him, more opinions on what he's reading, maybe trends that he saw, maybe he, because the thing is This Modern Love, so it's trying to make a commentary on modern love, not just love in general, but like what it's like to be in love or dealing with love now in the modern age with technology. And I felt like we could have had more of that, actually, and I would have liked more of that to see how love is affected by the internet, love is affected by, like, social media and stuff. And I would have maybe liked more little drop-ins from Will. Not for him to overtake the project, but just for him to make some more commentary, for him to make connections. Oh, it says right at the beginning of the book that he got, like, 15,570 responses. So in reading all of those responses, I can't even imagine how big of a task that would have been, but in reading all of those responses, he must have seen lots of common threads, lots of like similarities and stuff, and it would have been cool to get more of that. However, it's still a great book without it. And the other thing was that I dog-eared. So why did I put it back there if I'm gonna keep picking it up, you know? I don't know if you can really tell from this distance. Let's do a zoom in. I dog-eared so many pages, and they were all for different reasons. I dog-eared some because they made me laugh really hard. I dog-eared some because I felt really connected to some of them. I was like, this person feels me and we feel each other. I dog-eared some because they were really touching and really sad and really powerful. So it was kind of like a book of quotes in a way, like you're just reading all of these different mottos and ideas and taking in a lot of different perspectives. I loved the variety. This is important. I loved the variety of voices in the book. Number one, it doesn't say like, it says the country for some of the people, and it says the age for only a few people, like if they mention it in their letter or something. So you really don't know that much about the person, so I like that. It was kind of an anonymous wall. These are just things people have said. You don't know if they're in a straight relationship, or in a gay relationship, or in a, like polyamorous. You don't know what the situation is most of the time. Side note, I really like to make my Patreon videos unedited, to just do them in one go, but my battery died died, so that's why there was a cut. And this battery's also about to die, so we gotta finish this up. So the other thing I was gonna say, that there was also a variety in ages. There was an interesting range from it said at the beginning of the book, the youngest person was 12, the oldest person that submitted was 81. So this book felt really unbiased. It wasn't examining a specific kind of love, it was just looking at love. And overall, I found it really heartwarming. Even though the last section is about heartbreak, it was also about finding strength in yourself. Like, there was definitely ones that were very sad and were very like, oh gosh, this is really heartbreaking. But there was a lot of ones that were really like, yeah, we've broken up, but that's a good thing, or we've broken up and I'm gonna become stronger because of it, etc. So even though it was kind of like the downer part was the ending, it still managed to be uplifting. So yes, those are my overall thoughts on This Modern Love by Will Derbyshire, and an extension, this new wave of YouTube books that I'm really looking forward to. I'm very excited about these things. Let me know down below in the comments of the Patreon post if you've read this, or actually no, you haven't, because it's not out yet, is it? I just realized it's not out yet. So I recommend you do get it. Yes, so thank you to, who sent me this? Simon & Schuster sent me this. I asked for it, and I got it, clearly. Although I noticed that the UK one is hardcover, and I think I might like it more. This kind of book that is a very quick read, it's kind of like a coffee table book, I kind of prefer to have in hardcover. But that's just completely irrelevant now. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for being my patrons. I'm just so excited to have you here. I'm excited about how Patreon's going lately. Doing a few monthly videos and extra content is really fun. So, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!